Try to cover it up. You don't have my email ID. This is my email ID. Yeah? Okay. While showing the screen. Okay, I'll be slow. Okay, boss. So in the last class, we've been discussing on in the last class we'll be discussing on input parameters and variables. So pretty much we've touched on input parameters. Now let's deal with variables first. Yes, copy. Now let's say I have this view. I have this view and you get the data out. So I just have some region. I just want to have the enable the user for the selection of the region. So you can just select the region column either in the local or shared. Select the region and I can just say create variable from here itself. Create variable and apply filter. So it automatically suggests the variable name, label name. I think you should understand this now after seeing input. This is the value help view. I can change by default it takes current view. I can also change this. It says ZAT underscore BP. I can choose a different one. And from this view, I would like to use this column as a value help. For if it is variable, I have this option, select single value, interval or range. And even if it's interval, multiple intervals is possible. Yeah, is mandatory. I can go with, yeah. Here interval does not make sense, but I will show you single value, but multiple entries possible. Default value, I can go with constant. And this is the name of the field on which the actual filtering should be applied. So what are the value you pass into this variable? This value should be filtering which attribute is it. Now select this and say okay. So this is where you see where region, or you'll also get to see the variables here. Or I could have created from here also. So drop down. Instead of saying input parameter, I would say create variable and then you just give technical name, description, view for value help, the column name from which it should be reading the value help list of values. Single interval range or multiple entries mandatory and the column to be filtered on. Yeah. Either ways is fine. Yeah? Then activate. So what is this variable doing? With this variable, the amount of records on which the view gets executed is all same. It executes the entire view as it is. But before projecting the result to the user, the filter is applied. Now I'll just say display. I get to see the variable. It's value help and I select some region. I said multiple single values, right? I say I can add this one more row. I can enter another list of values. Like this, we can enter multiple list of values. If I say interval, I could have even entered in the 2 also. Say okay. And I get to see data for 2 regions here. Raw data should be affected. So I get to see only for Asia Pacific and EMEA. Yeah. So this is the variable bus. So the only difference is variable is only used for filtering, nothing else. But this filtering is also applied after the execution of the entire view. So it executes the entire logic of the view, and then before outputting the result to the user, it applies filter based on the variable values. So any doubts here now? That is it, variable. There is nothing in it. You see this multiple entries. Now here for variable it is possible to have single value interval ranges and with multiple entries option, and default value I can go with some fixed value or I can go with an expression here. Anything is possible. Okay boss. That's the variables boss, nothing else. So we've dealt with this variables and input parameters and mapping of input parameters. You understand now. In the star join, temporal joins, we'll get back to that later. Don't worry. But only this, just take this. Only in star join we can formulate temporal joins. We've seen the other joins like say inner join, referential join, left outer, right outer, and then text join. That is all okay. But there's another type of join called temporal joins, and the temporal joins can be used only in star join only. Okay. But what is temporal join? How is it? We'll see later. Okay. First, let me finish this semantic property. Then I'll get to currency or unit. Then next is an option called semantic properties. So whenever you say semantics, it's about providing more meaning towards that column. Yeah. I'm removing this variable so that I don't have this. So when you say semantics, it's about providing more meaning towards that column. Let's say I have this requirement. Now see the data. Now I see this gross amounts, net amount, tax amount, and quantities. Now when I say gross amount, it's a majorly an amount field, and this should be associated with the currency bus. Now look at this. I have 833 and I've got currency column is separate. But if you look at, if you observe reports from BW, it would actually show me 8.33 euros. It just shows me the value along with currencies. Same way with for quantities, I would get to see two pieces, to each piece. I would get to see value along with the currency or units. Okay, so how do we control that with the semantics? Yeah. Now get to the columns. First thing what I want is I would like to indicate, see, now HANA will just treat these columns as either as attribute or measurables. First thing I would like to indicate that currency is an attribute, fine. But within attribute, it is a special type of attribute which holds me the list of currencies in it. I would like to indicate that. So these kind of options, logic allow see in BW, while creating the inf objects, we are able to clearly differentiate which is a measure or which is a key figure, which is a characteristic, which is a time characteristic, which is an unit characteristic. But when it comes to HANA, you'll only see two type of columns. One is attribute or measure. So you don't have the flexibility of defining more special type of characteristics here. So in order to enable this flexibility where you define special type of characteristics here, we go with the concept called semantics. Here this has been defined as an attribute, but within the attribute I would like to differentiate this attribute as or define more properties or semantics to this column as what? Currency field was. Okay, so what I'll do, see there's an option here, assign semantic, just click on this and then semantic type. I would like to set this column as this is going to be only currency codes. So when I do this, now this column will become like a unit characteristic in BW. So with the help of semantics, we are able to differentiate, we are able to provide more meaning towards that column saying this is more of relevant to unit characteristics or what. Okay. Say okay. Now same way for this column quantity unit, I would like to say this is actually holding unit of measures. Again, so again that becomes unit characteristic in BW. So I'll go with semantics and say define the semantic as unit of measure. So now with this semantics, I've defined this currency. It is an attribute, but with more properties, I'm indicating that it's a currency. It holds the currency codes. Again, this is an attribute. Quantity unit is an attribute, but I'm defining more semantics to it, indicating that that's more of a unit of measure against. Okay. Now I have this gross amount. This is just referred as a measure. I would like to define more properties for a measure saying this measure has to be associated with some currency, and currency is indicated by this column so on. So now look, I'll go to gross amount, drop down. I'll say this is going to be a, look at this, amount with currency code. It'll ask me what currency is, what column is a currency column. Just get in. Don't say fixed, just say drop down. and my column is, what is my currency column in this? This is going to be currency column. Okay, done. So now I've defined more properties to this gross amount, indicating this is going to be amount with associated with the currency. So again, net amount, semantics. I'll say this is going to be amount with currency code, and the column which gives me currency codes is the currency field, which is already defined as currency codes. Again, tax amount also I want to associate with the currency. Now again, similar way I want to associate the quantity measure to this quantity. I'll say quantity with unit of measure. Then unit of measure is so and so. So this is about semantics. Now if I just go in and if I see the raw data, see, you get to see this gross amount associated with currencies here, and I see this quantities associated with the unit of measure, 2 pieces or 3 pieces, $51 or $151 or 304 Japanese or Mexican dollar 20, 84 Mexican. This is how you can, by using semantics, you can define more meaning towards that column or more defined specific properties to that column. In general, you're differentiating the column as attribute or measure. But within this attribute or measure, if you want to provide more meaning towards that column, especially defining about currencies or units or time relevant, date relevant fields, or you want to associate the key figures with currencies, then you go with what? Semantics here. Okay. Good. Done. Okay. Okay. Next, let's deal with currency and unit conversions. Okay. Let's deal with currency and unit conversions here. Okay. Think I have some table. I have some table for okay, I can do here itself. Let me do one thing. I'll take this currency conversion view and handle this. First thing is, instead of showing on lots of currencies, I just want to filter this out for only USD so that let's see for one type of currency. So now I get to see data only data for USDs here. So I see everything as USDs. Now let's say from USD I would like to convert this to euros. Yeah. Okay. So before you do this, I told you in HANA when you are supposed to perform currency conversion, we need to identify the schema which holds all my currency relevant tables here. SAP HANA. Yeah, if I have a schema called SAP underscore HANA underscore demo. In this I have the currency or unit conversion relevant tables. Look at this. All this. I've got T-car C, T-car F, T-car N, T-car, all these are my currency relevant tables. If I see this T-car C, it will give me list of currency codes in it. All the currency codes. If I go T-car table, that gives me conversion rates. I see something on mandate, I see different type of conversion rates from USD. I'm interested in this one, 1003 historical rate. USD to euro, so this is the value of 0.94 is the conversion rate. You'll have factors, decimals, lots. All these tables are relevant to your currency conversions. But when I perform currency conversion, HANA engine would expect to see a tables with the naming as T-cur C. So what I've done to solve this problem, I've created a synonym saying T-cur C is a synonym for sap.hana.demo content.epm data : epm conversion.tcurs. I've defined this synonym so that my HANA engine would recognize these tables only with these namings. Done. So once you know the schema which holds all, so before you do a currency conversion, as a prerequisite, you should have replicated those currency relevant tables from different system into HANA. So you should have identified the schema in which all your currency relevant tables are being maintained. Once that is done, you can go to in the view definition, the semantics. In the view properties, I told you there is something called default schema. Here you're going to list out the schema name through which you are supposed to do the currency conversion relevant tables to be referred from. Simple difference. You get to see the difference. For example, for gross amount, I would like to do conversion. I'll go to semantics. Now I'll say enable for conversion. But if I go to source currency, see, for example, it is not showing many currencies here. If you want to say exchange rate type, it is not showing many exchange rates. Say, what does it say? System tables for currency conversion are missing in what? Missing in the schema. So your SAP HANA engine does not know which schema must be referred in order to access the currency relevant tables for the conversions. So what do? You get into the view properties, say default schema. Here I would specify, say, there could be multiple tables which holds the currencies, I don't mind, but you select the schema which you want. So I want my HANA engine to be referring to currency conversion tables which are in my schema SAP underscore HANA underscore demo. Now let me do the currency conversion. Now select gross amount, click on the semantics. Okay. Then I'll say what? Enable for conversion. So source, now it is asked, simple. It is asking me source currency, target currency, exchange rate type, all those. Now source currency, two things. Do you want source currency as fixed? Now let me get in. If I say fixed, it will show me list of all the currency codes which are available. You can select what you want. But for me, source currency is the currency what is coming from source, which is the currency column, right? So it is not fixed. It is going to be a column. And which column? I have a currency column which tells me what is the source currency for. Okay. And ultimately from USD, I would like to convert this to a target currency as fixed. Would like to convert that to euros. This is my euros. And then what exchange rate type do you? I showed you different exchange rate. I would like to use historical rate, which is 1003. Then date of relevance, because your conversion rate should be time dependent, and the T-cur table will have time. So which date you would like to refer? I would like to refer something old. Okay. And this is a scheme of which is used for currency conversion. Now in the T-cur table, I showed you a field called mandate. So it's a client dependent. Okay. So I want it to be referring to which client? 000 is my client. Okay. So it has referred to those tables, T-cur, all those only for records where my mandate is 000. For in this case, it is 000. When in the real time, it could be any client you want referred from those tables. Which client data you want referred. And upon conversion failure, I would say failure, or I can fail or set to null. If it's not able to convert, set it to blank. Or if I say ignore, it will show the same old value with the new currency. Yeah? I'll say set to blank if it can't convert. Activate. Now if I get in, I should see this data being converted to euros. See, you see this gross amount, now it's been converted to euros. Like this, you can perform currency conversions. The source currency is USD, but ultimately it has been converted to euros. Okay. Again, I would like to show you the unit conversions now, but see, I got each piece, doesn't make sense to convert each piece. What I'll do, I'll assume this source as kgs, and I would like to convert that into grams. Okay. Then what I can do, so I'll select this, quantity, semantic properties, enable for conversion. Source, I'll not take the source unit. I will let to go with fixed, assuming that it is in kgs. I'll say kg, and I'll say target unit I want as grams. So it converts everything one as 1000. From kgs I want to convert it to grams, and the same HANA, and the client is more. I would like to refer to the records in those tables where my client is 000. Okay, and upon conversion, just ignore it. If it can't convert, just show me the same way. The invalid table name could not find. Okay, it doesn't find the table for that. Okay, what I'll do. So this schema does not have my table relevant to the unit conversion. So what I'll do. For now, I'll change the table schema which will have my unit of measures. Okay, and for now, I'll remove currency. This will not have. For unit, let me get in. Where that schema does not have a table which is required for unit conversions. I changed it, no, HANA demo, not changed. It is not changed inside, I think. Does it still hold those clients? I doubt. See, instead of 1, now it starts showing as 1000, 2000, 3000. It's all converted now. Like this, we can do currency conversion and unit conversion. And the next point is for all this unit conversion or currency conversion, I can make that as also dynamic. Okay. So what I'll do first, the target unit I would like to make it as dynamic. So I'll say I'll create an input parameter. So I can use input parameter and make my currency conversions or unit conversion dynamic. Plus IP underscore target unit. Okay. Direct is okay. Varchar some 3. Now I'll go to this unit conversion quantity. Click on this parameter. Instead of giving target unit as grams, fixed value, I'll go with what? Input parameter. I'll go with this. Everything. You can make this target unit dynamic or not the schema, but you can make this client also make dynamic by using input parameter. Anything can be done. Yeah. So now when I run the query, it will ask me to which target unit do you would like to convert it to. If I give it as grams, only then it gets into grams. Okay, boss. So I can make similar way. I can make my currency conversion also dynamic, where you specify the target currency or date relevance. Anything can be made dynamic. For example, if I go to gross amount and say enable conversion, source currency can be made, not source, but generally source is generally Target currency can be made dynamic with input parameter. What should be your target currency? Exchange rate type can be made dynamic by using input parameter. Okay. Conversion date relevance also can be made dynamic by using input parameter. Okay.
Sir?
One second. Session client also can be made dynamic by using input parameter. Drop down say input parameter. All these options can be made dynamic, which can be passed at the runtime. Yeah. Like this, you can make the currency conversion or unit conversion dynamic completely by using in concept of input parameters. Yeah, tell me, boss.
See, the currency conversion should be on daily basis, right? So we should not select that particular fixed date, right? On which date it has to get reference to.
Yeah, then that's what I'm telling you. In this case, don't select the date. You're okay with
Conversion date.
sources, let's say USD, you say, then target I want it as euros. Exchange rate type is 1003. But when it comes to date, I would like to make it as a dynamic one.
No, not dynamic. We have to take today's date, right? The current exchange rate.
I,
It keeps on varies from date to date, right?
I understand. You want to fill current date automatically. One option is you can create this input parameter. Direct, and you can give some default value as an expression,
Today.
and you can use the function. Now we'll give it along with time, but you have to use some function to remove the time. Only the date of you should bring in. Yeah.
Acha. Okay.
This is one option, but this is not the ultimate option. This is the minor part of workaround. Okay, but this is not.
Okay.
You cannot solve it exactly with this way. Then I told you,
Oh,
was mute. I told you there is something called I step 2.
it's,
Uh,
yeah.
so in that case, we have to use that. We'll see that example later, but for now, it will be like this. I'll create an analytical view, okay, with currency conversion, which will be using input parameter for date, okay. Okay, I'll create an analytical view like this. So whenever I trigger this analytical view, I'll have to pass on the date, and based on the date what I pass in, it performs the currency conversion for me. Okay. But for you, I don't want this. So if you end user executes this view, he has to enter the date. So you don't want to allow the user to enter the date. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah.
So then what we will do is the other option. What we will do is the next. This is the actual solution we handle it. Yeah. We create a calculation view with scripting based. First mute something. Someone. We create a calculation view with scripting based, and then perform a select on the column view of analytical view by passing placeholder value of parameter with current date. Okay, I create this view and I'll give this view to user. So user will trigger this view. Yeah, user will trigger this view, and in turn this view will call this view by passing the current date to this parameter, get the results and put it back to user. You got this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is where
So
major
these,
use more of scripting based calculation views. Yeah.
okay.
We'll see that. We'll see. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, don't worry on how to do this, but you understood what is the solution.
Yeah, the workaround I got it.
This one you understood this also. This is not workaround. This is the actual solution. This is the only way you can handle.
Yeah, got it, sir.
Yeah. So I'll create one input parameter and leave the analytical view. Then I'll be defining a calculation with scripting base where I would write a select on the analytical view by passing the parameter with current date always. And this view will be used for reporting. So when user does reporting on this, internally it will be calling this by passing current date and the results are projected out. Yeah? Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So this is about currency conversion and the unit conversions was. Yeah? Applying filters, we know. There's a next small option like measures grouping of measures. That's not big concept, but okay. Hmm. Simple. I just say assume I've got some lots of key figures measures here. I just want to provide some different grouping of the report instead of showing all of them in a single folder. Because when you do reporting, it tries to show all the measures in one folder and all the attributes in one folder. So if you have many measures, it might be confusing to see everything in a single folder. So I can just do some grouping here. Look at this. There is something display folder. Just click on this. So display folder, right click, say new folder. I'll say something like amounts or something and put gross amount. This is only logical grouping and net amount into this. Then I want to create one more folder. Okay. Hmm. Quantity something and put this two in onto this. Like this, you can create some multiple folders and create some grouping for the measures here. This is of no technical importance in the reporting level. They just try to see it as separate folders and more organized. That's it. Nothing else. Okay, boss. Okay. The concept. Okay. Hmm. That is it with analytical view, and I left with one topic. I want to finish that also. If you remember in analytical view, we have this option of enabling history and this concept. Now you can understand this concept now because you know about input parameters. Now let's deal with this. I want to see this timestamps. Let's take our table 9 cubics. I have a table. You remember about history enabled tables? We dealt with this table. ID, name, city. This is more of an history enabled session tables, right? And when it is history enabled session, what happens? Based on the timestamp what you enter, you should be able to see different set of data, right? Okay, boss. My table is this 9 cubex SQL. Let's see what all commit IDs we have. Basically, I have two commit IDs. One is of initially the record was created with 154. And then later there was a change performed at this another commit ID 216. And the first thing is I would like to know the timing of each of this commit ID. This is the timing. Next commit ID is this. This was at this timings. This 216 and 218. There's a difference of 2 minutes. Okay. Now let me use this table. So I'm creating analytical view. So let me use this table. Say ID, name, and city. And you see this clock symbol. This is more of a history enabled table. Yeah. And I need some measure, right? I just going with some count or something. So I have this. Yeah. It takes ID as a measure. That let it take, consider that, no issues. I want to see is my name different or same. Name is okay. Name is you can understand with the name. Okay. Now when I try to see the data, it just shows me the value. For Chandu, it is showing as what? Bangalore, right? But actually when you see the query, it is just showing me the latest value, what has been valid. But he was in Hyderabad in different dates, right? So as per different timing, I would like to allow him to see data for different values first. So how will you do this? So since I've got history enabled table here, look at the symbol. Yeah. So I'll go to semantics. First, let me create one input parameter through which I can pass in the time, IP underscore time. Direct is okay. I'll set this as a timestamp. So I have an input parameter. And I'll go to view properties. I'll say enable history. And as soon as I enable history, it will ask me history input parameter, through which parameter I can set up the time. I'll set up this IP time. Okay. So now let's run this. Let's say I give in some date like this. I think this syntax is wrong. This I will have to pass in that. 2015, it is September 9. Okay. I'll try to see the view and I pass in the timestamp. The timestamp what I passed in is 1638, or I can just go with any other second after that, 43 something. It will start showing me Chandu as what value? Hyderabad was. Okay. Now I try to run this. Paste this. Now I go in with, after 2 minutes it was changed. Now I'll set it as 19. Yeah. Now it will start showing you Chandu as Bangalore. You understand this? Enabling history is what enables you to build time traveling queries, where you can, through the timestamp parameter, you can pass in the timing, and based on the timestamp what you pass in, you'll be getting the output. That is why you can control the output of the view based on the timestamp what you pass. And by using this concept, you build the uh, time traveling queries. Any doubts here? Hello? Okay.
Sir, how do we see this in a real-time perspective?
Yeah, see, whenever you see some time-dependent master data, and you user wants in to see the fact as on the value as on the day, and build your time traveling queries, then you go with this history session enabled tables with enabling history. Yeah.
Okay.
Generally, when
And
certain attribute value keeps changing, and you would like to see the history of all the changes based on the dates, that is what we call the time travel queries. Okay. So when you want to implement that or model that kind of scenarios, we go with this history enabled session type tables, and where you pass in the specific timestamp parameter and filter that out. Okay.
okay, sir, I have one small question regarding variables.
Yeah.
Uh, when we filter variable, I mean, if we want, I mean, we use variables for filtering, right?
Yeah. Filtering after the
Yeah.
view has executed the data.
Yeah. Uh, if that filtering can be applied only for dimensions, not for measures.
Uh, I think
Because can you open that table? Yeah. Yeah, you can see here it is only showing in a variable column. It is showing that filter icon only for dimension, not for measures. So that is where I got the question. So
Generally, for measures,
Only for dimensions you have.
yeah, generally for measures, you don't use those kind of selections like that. Generally, it will be for attributes, yeah. Because even if you look at BW, it will only for characteristics, you will have the flexibility of choosing the values, yeah.
okay.
But sometimes you might want to say where my revenue is greater than 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
In that
that
case, you have to use
net
only
value is something like this.
exact. You have to use
So
input parameters only. Yeah?
input parameter where I can pass it and then get it.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, if I go with something this, here I can say uh, when I want to say something like where input gross amount, yeah, filter. You can say greater than some greater than or equal to, and go here. Instead of giving fixed value, I can specify an input parameter. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually time data will be stored in based on date from and date to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
In that case,
here,
see two things here. Two options to model your time based data. Okay. One is you use this date to, okay. You'll have two columns like date to and date from, and differentiate the dates. Okay. If you are storing your value like this, then we'll be using temporal joins to get the correct value. Okay. And other option is using this history session tables. Then we use enabling history. These are two options for time traveling queries. When you want to deal with slowly changing dimension or time dependent master data or time dependent dimensions, two options. One is date to date from. You can have two extra columns in the table with date to and date from, where you will store the date ranges that this value is valid from this date to this date. And then let's say in the transactions you have a date of transaction. Now I would like to pick the value based on whether this date falls in which interval from whichever it is. Then I can play with temporal joins. I'll say I'll take the date of transaction, check which this date falls in which interval between the date to and date from, and derive only the exact value matches during that date. Then that is what you handle with temporal joins. The other way is you go with history session tables, how we handle enable history, and that is the other option of time. Both options are available to handle time traveling queries. Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Sir, we do have the function called time between. I mean, time between, right? So
Means
that will not be feasible solution for this.
I don't know what is time bit.
I mean, earlier day you shown that there is a function called time between, right?
That is days between is to calculate,
Between dates.
yeah, that is to calculate number of days between two dates. That is different. Here what,
Okay.
see, the design is something like this. For example, now I have customer C1. His address is Hyderabad. I would say from 01/01/2015 till 31st 12/2015 he is in that. Then same customer, he has moved to Bangalore from 01/01/2016 till date 31/12, let's say 9999. Yeah. So this will be date from and date to. Now let's say there is a transaction performed by him. Let's say there is sales order 1 by C1, and let's say date of transaction is something around 31st 31st March 2015 with value 5,000. The another sales order, say S2 sales order, with same customer, but this was done on 31st March 2016 with 10,000. Now, if you ask me what is the total revenue of customer, I would say 15,000. Yeah. But when I say what was the revenue when he was in Hyderabad, then what you'll do, you'll have to match this date of transaction between this date to and date from, so date of tran. So apart from joining with customer to customer, I also need to join this date of transaction as between date to and date from, and then get this. So then whatever C1 is matching to C1, and this date falls in this interval. So it shows this 5,000 as Hyderabad, and again C1 matches to C1, and this date falls in the second interval, and so it shows the 10,000 as Bangalore. This is the first option with date to and date from what is referring to. Yeah. So when I need to join saying customer versus customer and the date of transaction between this date to and date from, that is where when you want to join this kind of scenario, we use temporal joins. Okay. So did you clarify, boss? Is that's what you wanted to know? Or was it something different you were expecting? And
Yeah, no, it's clear.
days between, it just calculates different number of days between these two. That is different. That's a function. And another way of, apart from this date from date to, another way of handling is with history session, where it maintains the commit IDs and the corresponding timestamps, and based on the timestamp what you enter, it shows me the values. That is another option. Yeah. And when I have session enabled tables, then only use that option of enabling history and passing the timestamp based on the input parameters. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, history can be enabled in attribute view also, and then same can be used in analytical view.
Exactly. Because, but in an attribute view, I cannot pass in the parameter, right? I can enable the history, and I can say enable history in attribute view, and that makes sense only when I use that in analytical view and enable the pass on the parameter. Otherwise, no. Okay.
And one more thing, sir. During currency conversion, we have selected the default schema in properties.
Yeah.
And then we are selecting the schema in our currency conversion window also.
Yeah.
So is there any need to select the?
As soon as you select the default schema, inside it selects that schema automatically. You don't have to select schema again.
Okay. Thank you.
Using this example, can you explain by using? Yeah. Next topic, I'm going into joins. There we'll see this temporal joins. Yeah. Saying previous example, can you example with using temporal join? Yes. And next, I'm going to get with the joins, so you'll see that example for temporal joins. Yeah. When the activation fails for at least one object, at least one runtime reported error during activation. Using activation failed for at least one object. At least one runtime reported error during activation. What is that error? What is it error, or you're asking me to tell you some error what I faced?
I got error, sir, whenever I executing analytical view. It is saying that server-side validation, activation ID, repository activation failed for at least one object. And then repository encountered an error in repository runtime exception. Model inconsistency, deploy analytical view, reference path and getting.
Okay. If you go down, it should explain you, right? What is the problem? We'll see that separately. Okay, Saddam? Or you have to send some screenshot or something. You should show. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Because there should be something you should explain, right? There's a problem with this or what, right? So if you just say activation failed, I can't say what is the reason. Right? Okay. Okay, boss. We'll just take break for 5 minutes. Yeah,
I
yeah,
have one
yeah,
question.
finish it. Yeah, yeah,
Sir, for default schema and currency conversion,
yeah.
what are all the tables, the currency tables that we need to maintain
Have
as
that,
on,
okay, as a prerequisite, what tables have to be maintained, yeah?
because all the input are coming from T card and T card C. These
Yeah.
are sufficient?
The ones which are starting with this year. T-car C, T-car F, T-car N, T-car, T-car T, T-car V, T-car W, T-car X. Okay.
Do we need all these tables, sir? Because T card and T card C are the main tables
No,
in
no, you
this.
need all these tables because F will give fractions, X will give decimals, all these are needed. T is not mandatory, but even if you have T, that will have description, but all are needed, yeah.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank
Yeah, yeah.
These tables are only, I mean, when we have a native HANA database, right? If it is data
No,
so
you'll have
source.
tables exactly with this naming when you are dealing with SAP, but if it is not SAP, you may not have tables with the same name.
Yeah,
So you might have to create the synonyms in this case.
yeah,
Upon conversion failure option, if you say upon failure, then what do you want? If the conversion is not able to be done, if I say ignore, it just does not do, it just shows the same value without conversion as the converted value. If I say null, then it shows me a blank if it can't convert. If it say error, it just shows me an error that it is not able to do conversion. Yeah. So we'll just take break for 5 minutes, then we'll start up again. Okay. Then when we start, I will not get into calculation views now. We'll get into types of joins because we've been seeing about inner join, left outer join, all this. So when you're modeling attribute views or analytical views, we're able to use lots of joins. Now we'll have to discuss on those joins. What happens when I use inner join? What happens when, I know that you know about inner join, left outer join, right outer joins. Text join also we've seen to some extent. But major thing is you need to know about referential join, which is very, 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 that is what making difference in HANA. So let's focus on that after the break. Okay. Then once we are done with joins, we'll just have a fair introduction on calculation view. So for tomorrow we can start up. Yeah. What is it? Yeah.
Sir, when it comes to C functions, don't we have this right outer join for C functions?
C functions you have no inner, left, right. You have right outer join. Right outer join is there no C underscore right underscore outer underscore. Yes, you have.
Huh. It's left is there, outer is there, and what about this one? Full outer join, sorry, full outer join.
Full outer.
Don't we have that concept?
No full outer. No.
Oh.
See, full outer is like you want object table A plus table B, right? It's more like in union, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, some applications do not have that because full outer is like union, right? A plus B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll just take break for 5 minutes and start up the joins concept. Okay. I'm not speaking yet. Yeah, shall we start? You're not able to see a screen. Can you log in again? Now, okay, okay. So we'll start, boss. So we're going to deal with the different types of joins what we have in detail. Very, very important. Any interview, you always have a question about referential join. Very, very, very important question. There's always a question on input parameters and variables, and there is always a question on this referential join, always. Yeah. So first thing is, why do we join two tables? When it comes to joining, you always have two tables or a number of tables. You join those tables. Why do we join the tables generally? Why don't I store all the data in a single table instead of joining? Generally, if you store data in a single table, it will be denormalized. You will have redundancy of data. And so in order to have the normalization, you basically split the information into multiple tables. But for the reporting, you would like to have the data from multiple tables. In that case, you go about joining those tables and bring the data together and project it. So that is where you have a requirement of joining two tables. It's when you say joining, yeah. So that is where you go about joining two tables, right? And the next point is once you decide about joining the tables, how do you want to relate them is important. So with the help of a join, you basically establish a relationship between those tables. And what kind of relationship, how the relationship should get executed is what differs based on the type of join was. So to demonstrate on all the type of joins, I'm going to use these three tables. Please analyze these three tables. You should know the complete in and out of these three tables. Don't worry about this 1 and 2. The first column, don't. That is only just the row numbers. Okay. So actually, my table will have only these. Will not have the row numbers. Now, first I have a table called state, which has got two columns. One is state and state name. I've got two values in this. One is MI, which stands for Michigan, and I've got another value called AL, Alabama. So I basically have two states in the state table. One is Michigan and one is Alabama. And I've got another table called customer, and I've got basically four customers. Don't worry on this row ID. Just look at this. I've got four columns majorly: CID, CNAME, state, and age. Yeah. I've got four customer IDs: customer ID 1, customer ID 2, customer ID 3, and customer ID 4. And they've got their names. Werner is 1, 2 is Mark, 3 is Tom, and 4 is Bob. Customer ID 1 and 2, they belong to a state called MI. MI, now if I go to this table, I can understand MI is what? Michigan. So in the customer table, I only know the state shortcut. If I need to get the name of the state, I need to get into the state table. Yeah? But customers with ID 3 and 4, they belong to a state called TX, which is Texas, but I don't have the Texas in the state table at all. And I've got their age like 10, 11, 12, 13. That's okay. Then I've got a table called sales order table. I've got 5 sales orders. This is just the row number. Don't get confused with this. And each row in my order is a particular order ID. I've got order IDs like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I don't have 5, 6, 7. I have 8. I've got 5 orders in total. Order 1, order 2, order 3, order 4, and order 8. If you look at this order 1, and I have another column called customer, which tells me which customer has performed this order, which customer has placed this order. Order 1 and 2 both are placed by customer 1. I can have one customer placing multiple orders, right? So I've got order ID 1 and 2 are placed by customer ID 1, and order ID 3 is placed by customer ID 2, and order ID 4 is placed by customer 4, and order ID 8 is placed by customer ID 77, and when I go to customer table, I don't have a customer record with CID as 77 here. Yeah. For example, if I want to know transactions performed by how many transactions were performed by Mark, then for Mark, customer ID is 2. If I go to this table for 2, I see only one order, which is 3, right? But if I want to know the name of a customer who has performed this order 8, order 8 is performed by 77, but when I go to this customer table, I do not have any customer ID with 77 here. So you have those 3 tables was done. So now let's say these 3 tables have been given and you're supposed to model these to generate out the required information for the reporting use. So you should know the table data so that you understand the joins perfectly. Yeah. So what I've done is So let's go to my table, Cubex SQL. Go to table Cubex, then I should have those 3 tables already. So I've got 3 tables. I've got J state, which is my table which holds the states, MI and don't worry about these row numbers here. MI and Michigan. I have a table called J customer which holds the same data. Don't worry about these row numbers at all. CID, the name, state and age. I've got J orders which holds the order. Same data for 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 and 77 and 10. And amount is 100 for every sales order performed. 100, 100, 100. Yeah. Okay. So let's go with inner. Okay. I have those tables. Now I would like to demonstrate on the different types of joins we have. We'll have to deal with.
Your voice and
Yeah.
screens are not, not sync actually.
You're not seeing?
Your voice and the sync, the screens which you are trying to show is not in sync. It is coming a bit late. Is that you are facing some issue with the network or
No, I think something from your
you're
side.
not able?
Now what is it you're seeing now? You're seeing a presentation slide?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've opened that. So this is the type of joins we're going to deal with. One is inner join, left outer, right outer. Then we have referential join. Then we have text join. Then we have temporal joins. We're going to deal with this. Now let's first go with inner join. I think we are comfortable, but still I just want to show you that inner join first. Now which screen are you seeing now? Now what screen are you seeing now?
You are connecting the remote.
Yeah, yeah. I'm also seeing the same.
Amount one, sir.
Now let's create an attribute view. ZAT inner, okay. Yeah, amount is 100 for all. 100, 100, 100. Now data foundation, I'm trying to join 2 tables, J state and J customer. So I'm going to join this on this. I'm going to establish a join. So I just take it, right click, say create join. Select the table customer. Customer has to join to the state. And based on the state column, I'm saying the join type is inner and say OK. And select all. Select CID, name, amount, age. And then I would get the state name from here. I don't know the state. Okay. And activate this. Activate this. Now when I see the results, what customers are we expecting? See, when you see inner join, what happens? Inner join only just picks up the common values. I'm trying to join which tables here? Customer and state. Based on which column was state. Now what is the common values on this state here? Michigan is a common value, MI. But I see 2 records of MI here and 1 record of MI. So every record of MI here will be joined with MI record. So that will be only the common values are resulted in inner join. So 2 entries here and 1 entry here. So the join will become 2 entries. Each of MI will be joined with the MI record. Let's see what is the output. System is stuck. System is stuck. I'm just waiting for it. Okay. Now when I see the content, you'll only see customer 1 and 2 because only 1 and 2 because these are the only 2 customers which has got Michigan, which is matching to the value what is there in the state table. This is inner join. Clear? Okay. Now let me create an analytical view. I want order ID, CID and amount. Let me use that attribute view of inner join into this. Then join this customer ID to customer ID. Activate. So now understand this now. In attribute view, I have inner join. In analytical view, I have inner join. So when I use this attribute view into analytical view, see, you know this point. When execute attribute view, it uses join engine. When you try to see the data for analytical view, it uses which engine was overlap engine, right? Now when I use an attribute view into analytical view, will it use both the join engine as well as overlap engine, or all the joins are executed with overlap engine? Tell me this.
Overlap engine.
Overlap engine. You have an attribute view with inner join. So when execute the attribute view as it is separately, it uses join engine. When I use an attribute view into analytical view, all the join definitions of attribute view is brought into analytical view, and all the joins are executed by default with overlap engine. Okay. So now the logic is this. Initially it has to join the state to the customer and with inner join, and the result of that is joined to the orders table. Now let's take a look at these tables first. First, the inner join between state and customer will, on the state column, will result what customers was? 1 and what? 2. And this sub result of 1 and 2, which is result of an inner join first, will be used to join to the order table. So when order customer ID 1 and 2 comes in, it only picks up those orders which are performed by customer 1 and 2 only. ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్ టు కస్టమర్ మధ్యలో ఇన్నర్ జాయిన్ జరగడం వల్ల ఓన్లీ కస్టమర్ ఐడి 1 2 వస్తుంది అవుట్పుట్. ఆ వచ్చిన అవుట్పుట్ని ఆర్డర్స్ టేబుల్ జాయిన్ చేసినప్పుడు ఈ 1 2 సంబంధించిన కస్టమర్ ఐడీస్ సంబంధించిన ఆర్డర్స్ వస్తాయి. అప్పుడు హౌ మెనీ ఆర్డర్స్ డూ యూ గెట్ నౌ ఇన్ దట్ కేస్? ఫస్ట్ స్టేట్ అండ్ కస్టమర్ ఆర్ జాయిన్ విత్ ఇన్నర్ జాయిన్ విచ్ విల్ రిజల్ట్ ఇన్ 1 and 2 customer IDs, and based on the customer ID we join it to what? Order. Sorry, I did not show you that right. Sorry. Here I'm using inner join. Okay. So again inner join. Okay. So the result of that attribute is again joined to the fact table with what? Inner join. So how many orders do you get here? Yeah. How many orders do you get and what are those orders? You will get 3 orders. One is order ID 1 because it is performed by customer 1. You'll get order ID 2 because again it is performed by customer 1. You'll also get order ID 3 which is again performed by customer ID 2. So you get to see order ID 1, 2 and 3. And 1 and 2 are performed by customer ID 1 and 3 is performed by customer ID 2 and 1 and 2 belong to 1. All this, both the customers 1 and 2 belong to Michigan. This is the effect of inner join. Okay. Which you should be comfortable with. Next, left outer bus. Again, I'm creating out attribute view. And my left table is my customer, and right table is my state. I'm going with left outer join. Left outer means what? Basically, you'll have the inner join. See, left outer join also will have inner join plus the unmatched values from the left table. The left table is my customer table. So matching would be Michigan. After matching values, apart from that, if you have any customers which does not have a matching state also will be brought in from the customer table. That is left outer join. So inner join plus the unmatched values from the left table. So what will be the output? How many records do you get? How many customers do you get in the output? How many customers do you get in the output? Yeah. How many customers do you get, boss? So basically it does do a matching. You're matching it on customer and state. So you're doing a join on the state column with left outer join, which is the matching value is Michigan. Your left table is customer. So when you say left table is customer, you will get the matching result of customer 1 and 2, and also the customers who do not match also. The unmatched values from the left table. Left table is customer. So 1 and 2 are the matching values, and 3 and 4 are also unmatched values also brought in the result. But only thing is for 3 and 4 you don't see any state. So you get to see all the 4 customers, but only thing is for 3 and 4 you do not see any state being assigned because they belong to TX, for which the TX does not have any corresponding value in the state table. Yeah, analytical view. Use the attribute view of left outer join. Data foundation is on the left hand side, left. Right table is your attribute view. I am going with left outer join. Activate. Now what should be the result now? See again, when you execute your attribute view, it uses join engine. When you use attribute view into analytical view, all the joint definitions of attribute view are brought into analytical view, and all these joins of attribute view or analytical view, everything gets executed with OLAP engine only. Now what will be the result? First it has to join the state and the customer with the help of left order join, which will result in 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, it has to join this customer ID to customer on the sales side with the left order join. Then matching values would be all these orders, and it also brings in the order ID 8, which even if there's no matching customer also, because it is left order join. So you get to see all the orders. I get to see order ID 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. Originally for order ID 8, you know customer number, but you do not know its name or age or the state. But for order ID 4, you know customer name, but you do not know to which state does it belong to. And why does customer number 3 does not come in? Because 3 is only in the right table, but not in the left table. Okay. Because the state and customer join will result in 3, but when because it is a left table is a customer, but when that is again joined to the order table, it only brings in the matching values and unmatched values from the left table. Left table is my foundation, which does not have the customer 3, so that doesn't come out. It's clear, right? And I think I don't have to show, right? You will see the same. Okay, let's see. Let me create a join. Left table is customer. Let's say right table is state. Joining in the state. And now this time I'm going with right out rows. Always the parent table first. Okay. Okay, right outer. So when I say right outer, it actually brings me the common values like inner join and also the unmatched values from the right table. Yeah. So your right table is my state. So unmatched value in the state is your Texas. Alabama. Yeah. So you get to see customer ID 1 and 2 which are matching, and Alabama which is the unmatched values from the right table. Yeah. So I'm using the attribute and joining on the customer. This time I'm saying right out. So again, right out common values based on the customer IDs and unmatched values from the right out. So after the join between customer and state, it'll in the right out, it will result in 1 and 2 and Alabama, and that gets joined to this analytical fact table again with right out. So you get to see only customers of 1 and 2 and no customer U. So 1 has performed 2 orders and customer 2 has performed 3 orders. Now what should be a result first? Look at this now. First you join customer and state with state as your right outer. So you'll get 1 and 2, the matching values, and unmatched values are Alabama. So you get 1 and 2 and the blank customer. Now when I join this on the customer ID, so 1 customer will have the matching and then 2 will have the other matching, so 3 orders. And do we have any unmatched values from the right operand, which is your Alabama, which is still there with the null customer. Now you see this 1 and 2, these are matching customers, and also you see this Alabama state because the right outer it is following So this does not have state, this does not have a customer order information, so they are blank. This is your right outer. Now let's go with referential join. Very, very important. So I'm creating what? Attribute view or analytical view? What is that I'm creating? Am I creating analytical view or attribute view, boss? Attribute view, right? Okay. See the join. The main parent table is my customer and to the state. Join the state to state. And I'm using the join type as referential. Now what is the join type I'm using? Referential join. Say CID, name and age. Now what will be the result is a point. Now first point to be noted on the referential join. Concentrate. The statement would be a bit confusing. Okay, this is a new join, right? For you, now look at this. Referential join is only recognized by OLAP engine. Referential join can only be recognized by OLAP engine only. Okay. Okay, boss. And next, referential join is same like inner join if join is executed. But it will execute the join only when you refer columns from both the tables. Otherwise, no. You getting this? Referential join is like inner join, but the referential join is executed only when you refer the columns from both the tables. Otherwise, no join is executed at all. And this OLAP join can only be recognized by OLAP engine only. అంటే రెఫరెన్షియల్ జాయిన్ అంటే ఇన్నర్ జాయిన్ లాగానే బిహేవ్ చేస్తుంది. ఎప్పుడు జాయిన్ ప్లే అవుతుంది? రెండు టేబుల్ లో నుంచి కాలమ్స్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసినప్పుడే జాయిన్ ప్లే అవుతుంది. జాయిన్ ప్లే అయితే అది ఇన్నర్ జాయిన్. జాయిన్ ప్లే లేకపోతే జాయిన్ అసలు ప్లే కాదు. రెండు టేబుల్స్ ని నువ్వు రెఫరెన్షియల్ జాయిన్ ద్వారా జాయిన్ చేసినావంటే రెండు టేబుల్ ఉన్న కాలమ్స్ ని నువ్వు సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకున్నావు అన్నప్పుడే జాయిన్ ప్లే అవుతుంది. అది జాయిన్ ప్లే అయితే ఇన్నర్ జాయిన్. ఆ జాయిన్ కూడా ఓలాప్ ఇంజిన్ లో అయితేనే అది రికగ్నైజ్ చేస్తుంది ఆ విధంగా, లేకపోతే రికగ్నైజ్ చేయదు. సో రెఫరెన్స్ జాయిన్ is only recognized by OLAP engine. That is one point. Whenever you join two tables with referential join, the referential join will act like inner join when executed, and it is executed only when you read columns from both the tables. Or reverse way, only when you select columns from both the tables the join is executed in case of referential join. If join is executed, it is like inner join only. If you don't select columns from both the tables, then join is not performed. It only reads all the values of that one table only. Yeah. Knowing this, now tell me what will be result of this attribute view now. Tell me what is the result of this attribute view. I have built a referential join in attribute view and I'm trying to execute the attribute view. When I execute this attribute view, we are using join engine. Will join engine recognize your referential join? Will it recognize the referential join? No, right? So when it does not recognize, it acts like normal join. Look at this. When I say display, is it like normal inner join? Either you select, see now I'm selecting columns from both the tables. So it is showing this inner join is fine. Let us assume like that. Now what is this view? Z80 referential, right? Let me go to this big scheme. Yeah. Let me select this. Select C name. Is it C name or name? C name from this is just like reading from column view only, right? So let's see what names does it show. Is it still showing only two names? Why not all? What did I say? When you select columns from both the tables, only then the join is executed. Then if join is executed, then it is inner join. But now, even if I'm selecting column, then I told you if it's selecting column only from one table, then there's no join performed. If there's no join performed, it has to show me all the values. But when I say select customer name, it is showing me all, since the customer name is only from one table, when I'm reading data from only one table, in fact, it should not execute any join and should give me a result in all the names. Is it doing that? Or is it still executing that like an inner join bus?
Sir, you said it is recognized by only OLAP engine, right? So, but when we use attribute view, it is.
That's why it is just treating as like normal inner join. You know? See, it is just treating it as normal inner join. But as per referential join is what? When I select column from only one table, it should not execute any join and should show me all the values of the table. Yes or no? So when I'm selecting customer name from this view, it should not perform any join and should, when it does not do any join, it will show me all the names of the table, all the customer names. But it is still referring that as a normal inner join bus. Hello?
Sir, is it this way that if we fetch data from both the tables in referential join, the referential join will be executed, and if we fetch data from a single table, be it referential join, then the inner join will be executed?
No, not like that. When you join two tables with referential join, join is executed only in the case when you're trying to write a select which is reading data from both the tables. And if join is executed, it will work like inner join only. It will work like that. If I am selecting columns from only one table, it should not execute any join. It should show me like left-order join where it shows me all the values of the table. That is actual behavior of referential join. Since now look at the select statement here, I am selecting only customer name. Where I am reading only customer name means I am selecting columns from only one table. In that case, it should not execute the join. It should show, if it is not executing the join, it should show me all the customer names. It should not restrict anything, right? Since it is restrict, it is still playing inner join. It means what? It is just treating that referential join as a normal inner join only. In case of attribute view, when I'm joining the two tables with reference join, it is not recognizing. It is just treating as normal inner join only. That is where I'm saying reference join is not recognized by join engine. Okay, then your question should be then why SAP has given referential join in when creating attribute view? Yes?
Yes.
When it is not recognized, why is that SAP has given me reference join in attribute view? Remember, once you create attribute view, when I use this attribute view into analytical view, all the join definition of attribute view will get executed with which engine? OLAP
OLAP.
engine. So in that case, when I'm building attribute view with referential and use that into analytical view, then will I get that effect of referential join?
Yes.
That is where we still have the referential join option in attribute view. But it will not work when execute attribute view separately. You'll have that effect only when I use it
Okay.
into analytical view. Yeah.
Achha. So when referential join is executed in attribute view, it will be executed as inner join.
Exactly. If you're using referential join and attribute view separately, then you see it as if normal inner join only. Because it is using join engine. But when I use the referential join of attribute view into analytical view, then you see the actual definition of referential join working out because you're leveraging OLAP engine.
Okay, sir. What happens when in analytical view we use referential join and try to fetch data from single table?
I'll show you that effect. First, did you understand? First, I wanted to show you.
Okay. Yes.
In attribute view, if you execute referential join, it will just act like normal inner join. There's no difference here. Why? Because when you execute the data on attribute view, it means you're using join engine. Join engine will not recognize referential join. It will treat that as normal inner join only. Because if it is treating that as referential join, to demonstrate that when I read customer name from one table, it should not perform any join. When it does not perform any join, it should show me all the 4 customer names. But it is still showing only 2 customer names, means what? It is performing inner join for me. Either I select column from one table or either I select column from both the tables, it is still performing join, which is like inner join only. There is no difference between referential and inner join in attribute view. But when I use this attribute view into analytical view, then the actual meaning of reference join is affected because you are using OLAP engine there. Let me show that now. Okay. Now game starts. Okay. ZAB referential. Okay. So finish. Yeah. See, I'm using this attribute view, which is using referential join into it. So now the referential join defined in my attribute view is also put into my analytical view now. And when I execute analytical view, it is going to use OLAP engine. So I'm going to set this join also as what? What is the join? Referential. Now the referential join will be recognized now. So the referential join between the state and customer will be recognized, and the result of that joining to my orders tables also will be recognized because we are using OLAP engine. I can either see data like this, or I can also write some query and see on this, right? I can also open an SQL editor. I get to see this query completely. I can change this query also. Either I can say display data always, which runs some query. I can also, nothing but query is on the column views. I can also get this out here, okay? But I can change my query according to my requirement, right? I don't want to see all. So I'm doing this, select. So I don't need to select all the columns every time, right? In the reporting, you will just select the column what you need. You will just select sum of amount as amount from this column view. Column view, nothing but the column view, the OLAP catalog column view of your view bus. Now, can you tell me what will be the output? What will be the output bus?
It will give return all the rows. It's because data is being selected from one table.
So what it does? Since you're selecting column only from the orders table, it does not worry about joining. As per reference join what? When you select column only from one table, it should not perform any join. No join to be performed at all. So then it goes to the orders table, read all the values of the sum and give me. So I had 5 orders. Each order value was what? 100, 100, 100. And if I aggregate that hundreds, then what will be the value?
500.
500. So you get this 500. Okay. Now I say this way. Now I want C name. I want customer name. Since I'm using that, I should say there's a group by C name, because when I'm using aggregation function, I should say C name. Now what will be the output? So actual definition is what? We have a referential join between state and customer. First it has to do that. Then on the result of it, it has to do a referential join between the result of the join versus the orders. So let's say from state and customer, I'm just selecting only customer name. So what will be the result of that join? I have a referential join between customer and state table, where I'm just selecting only customer name from those two tables. What will be the result? Hello? Just give me what will be the output of this query now.
So these two fields are from two different tables.
Yes, because this customer name is in customer table.
Then we will get one entry.
Amount is in amount table. Now first what it does? First it has to join the state and customer table with what? Referential join. But when you're trying to do, when there is a referential join between these two, and when I'm selecting only customer name from this table, what does it do? The join is not performed, so it will return me all these customer names.
C names.
All the 4 names, right? Werner, Mark, Tom, Bob, all the names come up along, and okay, that will be the result. Then when I'm considering this customer name, and now when you're trying to join the result of that with the sales order, now since I'm selecting amount value and customer name from these two tables, will it perform the join now?
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you're selecting table, then it should play like inner join. So I got the result for 4 customers. Customer 1 has performed order 1 and 2, and customer 2 has performed order 3, and customer 4 has performed order 4, but customer 3 has not performed anything. And the order 8 was with 777, but there's no name here. So now, after the result of state and customer, you get 4 customers, and the 4 customers you're trying to join with the orders table with an inner join. So what? Because you're selecting columns from 2 tables, it executes join. It executes join, then it is an inner join. So what should be the result of this query now?
400. 400.
Yeah. Werner 200 because he's got 2 orders. Mark 100 because he's got only 1 order. Bob 100 because he's got only 1 order. Okay. Now I say state name. Now I say state name and amount. I just want to get the state and their amount. Again. Way to get the state? First, the state and customer must be joined. Again, let's say state and customer. And I'm saying like this: select state from state table and customer table, join them by the referential on the state column. Since I'm selecting state only from, since I'm selecting column only from one table, will it perform the join?
No.
No.
Yeah. So it has to return me all this. It has to return me what? All the states from which table? MI and
Table.
But for MI and Michigan, you don't have 2 customers, right? If you say Michigan and Alabama both comes in, for Michigan, how many customers do we have?
2.
Only 2. And these 2 have performed how many transactions?
3.
3. Sorry. Okay, Michigan 300. You getting this? This is referential join. So major points to be noted here. Look at this. Don't worry about first point. Now look at the second point. Optimized for performance. So why? In what? How is that it is improving the performance first? Because join is not executed always. Join is only performed when you're referring the columns from multiple tables. Otherwise, join is not performed. So whenever there is a requirement of reading columns only from one table, since it is not performing a join, it improves the performance of the query. So join is only performed if at least one field from right table is requested. Means if you are selecting from two tables, only then the join is performed. Okay. Like an inner join when the join is executed. When the fields from both the tables are requested, an inner join is performed. Okay. Only available in OLAP engine. Referential join is a feature available only in OLAP engine. When testing attribute views outside the context of analytical view, then the join engine will prefer and perform an what? Inner join. So when you try to use an attribute view with referential, it does not recognize that. It just treats that as only an inner join. Okay. So what? See, if you focus here, what is happening when I join two tables with referential? And if I select columns from only table 1, it does not even check whether it has got corresponding records in table 2 or not. So what SAP says, in case of referential join, when you're selecting values from only one table, it does not check the corresponding values available in the other table or not, because the join is not performed. So try with referential join, try joining two tables with referential join only in case where table 1 always has an entry in table 2, always the referential integrity is matching this. Referential integrity means when you have primary key, foreign key, an entry in table 1 is always has an entry in corresponding entry in table 100%. In case of referential join, when you join two tables, and if I selecting columns only from table 1, it is not even checking whether do we have corresponding entry in table 2 or not. So prefer using referential join in a case where even without checking, you should have an entry. Means in a case where the table 1 will always have an entry in table 2 corresponding. So what do you think is the best example where table 1 will have table 2 entry, table 2 will always have an entry of table 1. If you look at these tables, there's always a mismatch, right? Here the state is not there, here Alabama is not there, here the customers are not there, there's a mismatch. I'm asking what could be the best scenario where suppose if I have 5 customers here, even the master I should have 5 customers. Excellent. So header and item level is a table where it's 100% you'll have which satisfies your referential integrity.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Say for example, I have sales header and sales item. If I see a sales order in the header table, you'll definitely see a sales order with the same number in item 100%. Without having the order in the item level table, you'll not see that in the header. So in those kind of tables where it satisfies 100% referential integrity between those tables, you join them with referential join, because even if I select values from one table, it does not check in. Even if it does not check, 100% there is a matching value for me always. So that is where I use referential join. So this is all about referential join. So basic point here is when I use a referential join in attribute view, it will just perform an inner join, because a reference join is always executed only by OLAP engine only. And when you say referential join, only when you select columns from both the tables, only then the join is executed. If executed, it will be an inner join. If you select columns only from one table, then there is no join executed at all. Then it just reads all the values of the table without unconditionally. And so this is a case where it can be satisfied when there is an 100% reference integrated between the tables, like header and item level tables. Okay, boss. And then there's a table join called text join. I told you, when you have a table which is maintaining descriptions in multiple languages, and you have a language like field, if it is SAP, you will see a language field called sparse. In that case, you go with text join, which we already discussed. Okay, clear? So whenever you want to join data from two tables, and with the join, you would like to filter the data based on the login language, then you go with what? Text join was. If it is ECC tables, the language column would be sparse, and equivalently design it acts as a left outer join. Okay. Okay. So even though there is no description, it will still bring that value for me. Okay. Okay. Next is your temporal join. Yeah. Just a minute, the system is stuck. Yeah. Okay. I have temporal. For temporal, I don't know what tables I have. Let me just. Let's finish it here. There's no point in copying. Look at this. I have a table called temp cust 5. I just have a simple table, a customer. It's a C1. I got date to date from. This is date to from. Date from correct. So from Jan 1st 2014 till 31st Jan, the entire month of 2014 he was in Hyderabad. And from Jan 1st 2015, entire month of Jan 2015 he is in Bangalore. This is what the data I've got. This is just a normal table I've got. Okay. Then I've got an analytical view, which is just giving me the fact data, which tells me I've got so and so order. This is the net value 1200 and 2400. There is one transaction performed. This Z date is my date of transaction on Jan 15, 2014. There's another transaction which was performed in the year 2015 January, and both are from same customer. I just take that and so I'm just going with inner join now. When you see inner join, if you remember, in the customer master, I have two entries for the same customer C1 of different dates. And I've got in the transactions, I've got two transactions by C1. So when I go with inner join, what happens? Each C1 will be joined with every C1 and create me 4 combinations of the join. And there is one transaction with 1200, there is another transaction with 2400, and look at the result what it does. first C1 is joined with one C1 resulting in 1200, and the next C1 is joined with 1200 again. So if you look at this country wise, so, for Hyderabad it shows me 3600, for Bangalore it shows me 3006. Is it correct? It is joining every C1 record of my fact is to the every C1 record of my master bus. This is not what I wanted. So my requirement is this. I would like to join with customer to customer, and also the date of transaction to be checked against the date to and date from the other table. So that is where we go with temporal joins. System is So what I will do to solve this problem, I'll go now. I'm in which node? Star join. Get into this. Now I use this temporal properties. Drop down. I want to use the date of transaction as temporal column, and this date has to be checked between which is date from in this case. Date from is date from, and date to is date to, and I should include both of this. Even the last date from date also should be included. So include both. Means even date from value to also should be included into that. Say okay. Now the join condition is such a way that it says customer ID is equal to customer ID and the Z date between date from and date to also. Both the conditions placed down, and then it will show the Hyderabad transaction value in Hyderabad and Bangalore transaction value in Bangalore. You see 1200 as Hyderabad, 2400 as Bangalore. This is called temporal joins, and this can be worked out only in the star join node.
Sir?
Okay, go temporal joins. Look, let me finish this. That's okay. Impact on temporal condition is always executed, so performance is not so good. It's always executed. Temporal condition is what? Temporal column is defined on the right table data foundation with from and to columns, and the temporal is defined check to see the validity period. Okay, and only available in OLAP engine. So temporal condition only available in OLAP engine between data foundation and attributes. So only the star join. Only the star join where you're joining the data foundation towards attribute views, only there you can formulate your temporal joins. Only when you're trying to join your data foundation and attribute views, you can use your temporal joins. Okay. Yeah. Now tell me your doubt.
So what is the effect when, what is the effect when we just give this temporal condition? Once again, I did not get it that clear.
See,
when we got the 4 record, that condition was okay.
When you got?
In the output, we got 4 results. That is, it was a simple inner join. So that was okay.
Yeah.
But
for you,
how did it manage for the temporal join?
Yeah, for you it is okay because you could understand inner join. But actually for business it is wrong, because how can same customer, actually the customer was in Hyderabad, then he generated a revenue of 1200. When the customer moved down to Bangalore, then he generated a revenue of 2400. Yeah. But if it goes with normal inner join, it is showing me as almost double the value. So 7200 is the value as an overall customer, which is wrong.
Yes.
It is so. What we want is we want to join customer versus customer, and also I need to check saying this date of transaction.
The data as well.
Yeah, this date interval of date should be checked against this date to and date from also. So that is where I'm going with this temporal. I'm saying apart from joining.
So what does this mean? Exclude both?
Exclude both means they say this. Let's say now what is start date? Actually from value is what 1st of Jan 2015, and to date is 31st Jan 2015. I don't want those dates to be included, the end points. Then I'll say if I say include both, then what happens? Even Jan 1st and Jan 31st also included into this. For example, if there's a transaction which says 31st Jan 2015, then should I include that into this or not?
Yes.
Include. If I say exclude, then if it says 31st Jan 2015, that will not be that since you said exclude, that will not be considered into this. Yeah.
Into this range, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So this join can be executed only in one application. Hello?
What? Yeah.
This join can be executed.
Yeah. Now you speak. Now. Yeah.
If I use this same analytical in the calculation view, will it execute or?
If you use same thing in analytical view.
Yeah, if this analytical view is used in calculation view.
Or if there is a part of question point, it's not clear. Can you unmute and mute again once?
Sir, I think his question is, what if I use the same in analytical view? And
what if I use same in
analytical view alone? I mean,
yeah, I'm telling
is what I just
the
could understand.
temporal join can only be used in analytical view only. Temporal join can only be used in analytical view, that too only in star join only. We cannot use that in calculation view also. Yeah. Even in calculation, we can bring star schema. There only can use. Only in star join node only we can use this temporal joins. Okay. Babraju, ఇంతేనప్పా? Anything else?
అంటే analytical view కూడా calculation view వాడుకోవచ్చు కదా.
I can use analytical view to calculate.
Then this join will work.
Yeah, this join will work. Yes. Yes. When I use analytical view into calculation, this join will still work.
Sir, one more question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, a question is, when we use this temporal join, do we use only, it is only applicable for inner join? No other?
No. Anything I can.
Okay.
I think whole inner was.
But
Only inner. I think referential also it works. Yeah. Inner and referential, both it will work, not for left or right or something. For referential or inner, you can go with temporal columns. Yeah.
Not even text. Can you just
no left, no right, no text. Only for inner and referential, you can go with temporal columns.
Yeah.
Okay, boss. So I'm going to stop it here, and tomorrow we'll focus on with calculation view, boss. Okay. We'll start with the calculation view and get on with it. Okay. So I'll send out this video. So try to practice more. So tomorrow it will be easy because calculation will carry on most of the same properties of analytical view, and you'll have some more extensions. So if you can catch this out, we can expend more time on the new options. What is it?
Tomorrow class is there.
Yeah, tomorrow let's have class, no? Yeah.
Can you please send that PPT, sir?
I'll do that. Sure, I'll do that. Okay. Immediately after this.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, bye. Please, sir, no class tomorrow. రేపొద్దమ్మా
sir,
రేపు పెట్టుకోతే అది క్యాల్కులేషన్ చాలా టైం పడుతుందమ్మా. It's getting heavy.
Okay, sir.
I'll go slowly.
We'll have class tomorrow.
Otherwise we'll take break on any of the weekdays. Don't worry. Okay. Let's have class tomorrow. We can spend some more time. Okay.
Sir, one small request.
Yeah. Yeah. You have posted one question, Naresh Addala. If you are joining head writer, if you are joining say for right exam header with reference join makes more sense. We obviously select columns from both the tables. Then it is more like inner join. Where can we first what I'm saying is see referential join is good in performance because when you select columns only from one table, then it does not perform a join, so it is faster. Now you are saying whenever I join two tables, header and item with referential, every time I will run a query, you will select from both the columns. So then there's no point, you're not improving anything. But what I'm saying in, let's say you're running some reports. In the reporting, even though you've joined header and item, you're just reading only the columns from only item, let's say. Let's say I'm selecting product and let's say some quantities. So both of them are from only item level, right? In that case, then the performance is good. Let's say I'm trying to run some query on number of orders with customer. Both are from header level. Then it improves performance again. So that is what I mean to say that. Yeah. Okay.
Sir, one small request. If we get any doubts during practice, can we send you a mail with a question?
Yeah,
Because
please
we'll not have
send me a mail, right? Send me a mail. Yeah. And when you send a mail, please give your phone number, because I don't like to type in. If there's something, I'll call you directly and finish it up. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.